Good evening, I'm Michael, and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Dewan Rakyat today got down to discussing a very heavy subject. The matter was brought up by Mohamad Sabu while debating the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's address. Amanah President Mohamad Sabu and several other lawmakers from the party today touched on the issue of ketuanan Melayu or Malay supremacy. Equating it to white supremacy, Mohamad said ketuanan Melayu could lead to future unrest.
Dan kita kena ingat bahawa soal mengutamakan, membela satu kaum tanpa had, ia membawa kepada bahaya. Apa yang berlaku di Amerika sebagai contoh yang terbaik kepada kita. White supremacy. Ketuanan orang putih. Akhirnya kita lihat ia berlaku berzaman, sejak daripada zaman George Washington, Lincoln. Tapi kemuncaknya berlaku di zaman Donald Trump. Kerana pemerintah sendiri mengapi-apikan isu perkauman. Akhirnya berlaku huru-hara di seluruh Amerika. Walaupun di zaman pandemik ini, rakyat tetap keluar, tunjuk perasaan dan membawa kematian. Inilah juga bahaya kalau kita pergi kepada ketuanan Melayu. Kita kena utarakan Melayu yang berwibawa, Melayu yang bertakwa, Melayu yang berintegriti, bukan ketuanan Melayu. Kalau kita pergi ke ketuanan Melayu, ia sama dengan white supremacy.
Speaking in the Dewan Rakyat, Mohamad said white supremacy has led to chaos, referring to the Black Lives Matter protests in the US. However, not everyone agreed with Mohamad's equation.
Sekarang, kita tak nampak bahaya itu. Ia di peringkat permulaan. Tapi ia berlaku beratus tahun di Amerika Syarikat. Akhirnya kita lihat white supremacy itu membawa satu kancah yang tak sudah-sudah di Amerika yang sekarang merebak di seluruh dunia.
Kota Raja, Mohamad Kota Raja, saya mohon.
Ya.
Saya kira istilah yang digunakan oleh Kota Raja, white supremacy dan ketuanan Melayu itu satu benda yang agak berbeza. Apa yang disebut sebagai ketuanan Melayu hanyalah menyatakan hak-hak orang Melayu yang termaktub dalam perlembagaan, tak lebih daripada itu, Kota Raja. Terima kasih.
Saya setuju 100%. Jangan kata kita kena sokong orang Islam walaupun dia rasuah, walaupun dia menyeleweng.
An argument ensued with Tanjung Karang MP Nur Omar, who said Mohamad should not be equating Malays with corruption.
Nah, sebab soal Melayu ni. Saya bila sebut soal Melayu terasalah saya sebab saya orang Melayu. Tadi saya sokong Pasal Mah kata kita perjuangkan hak Melayu dalam perlembagaan. Tapi kalau yang berhormat kait dengan rasuah terlalu umum. Kalau yang berhormat betul-betul perjuangkan Islam, mengapa yang hormat lari daripada PAS pergi lompat kepada Amanah? Apa bezanya? PAS memperjuangkan Islam, menjaga agama. Yang berhormat boleh lari, menang tekad PAS, lari pada Amanah. Sekarang nak bercakap soal Melayu. Macam mana?
PAS tak pernah
jangan umum, jangan umum.
Meanwhile, Amanah Communications Director Khalid Samad later reiterated that ketuanan Melayu and white supremacy are one and the same. He said the constitution only states the special position of the Malays and not ketuanan. Sampurna MP Shafie Apdal also warned that divisive politics, as employed by Trump, were very destructive and called for the end to the use of race and religion in politics. The government today announced new SOPs ahead of the Hari Raya Adha celebrations. The government has set new standard operating procedures for the upcoming Hari Raya Adha after taking into account the risk of the spread of COVID-19. Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government has decided to limit the number of animals being sacrificed at each location for the ritual.
Oleh itu, pihak kerajaan telah memutuskan untuk menghadkan jumlah lembu ataupun haiwan yang dikorbankan. Kalau lembu misalnya tidak lebih daripada 10 ekor haiwan. Tak boleh lebih daripada 10 ekor. Had maksimum 10 ekor, iaitu haiwan yang disembelih di masjid, surau dan lokasi yang dibenarkan oleh pejabat agama daerah dan pihak berkuasa tempatan. Dan had ini pun tertakluk kepada keluasan lokasi tersebut.
Ismail added that the number of people allowed during the sacrifice is limited to 20 per animal and meals are not allowed at the site. Only takeaway food will be allowed. He said the sacrificial rites can be held for 4 days, including the first day of Hari Raya Adha, after the Adha prayers and 3 days of Tashrik. Now we take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Malaysia reported 7 new COVID-19 cases today, with 3 of those being locally transmitted cases. Health Ministry Director General Dr. Shafie Apdal said the 3 cases were detected through pre-operation testing in Sabah hospitals, 2 at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kota Kinabalu and 1 at the Women's and Children's Hospital in Likas. All 3 cases involved Malaysians. As for imported cases, it involved people entering the country from Pakistan, Russia, Australia and Indonesia. Dr. Hisham said this brings the total COVID-19 cases in the country to 8,804, of which 179 are still active.
Sehingga 26 Julai 2020, kes COVID-19 di seluruh dunia telah mencecah 16 juta kes. Kes harian yang dilaporkan pada 26 Julai 2020 adalah sebanyak 259,037 kes. Situasi COVID-19 di seluruh dunia yang semakin melarat adalah amat membimbangkan.
Sugu Pavitra, the YouTube channel that was the talk of the town during the MCO, is no longer what it used to be. After a chaotic week, the Sugu Pavitra YouTube channel took another hit over the weekend after all 98 videos on the channel disappeared. As Pavitra's husband Sugu, who was charged with carrying an offensive weapon and causing injury to his wife with a mobile phone and a sickle, told Bernama that he was the one who deleted all the videos after what happened. According to Sugu, a former estate worker, they lost their income from YouTube following his move to delete all their videos. He was quoted at Bernama as saying it's okay because he was able-bodied and is willing to look for another job. However, he said fans can expect to see the couple on the platform again after discussions with various parties are finalized. He said their next video could be expected on Monday afternoon. However, as at 1 p.m, their once lively page remained empty. Their channel on YouTube still has close to 800,000 subscribers. On July 24th, Sugu was charged with possession of a dangerous weapon at a sessions court in Ipoh. However, since then, Pavitra told the press that she had forgiven him. Coming up next, we sat down with former Pikar lawmaker Dr. Afif Bardin for an interview. Dr. Afif Bardin said Perikatan Nasional shouldn't make the same mistakes made by the Pakatan Harapan government.
Saya kebetulan terlibat dengan daripada ketika Pakatan Rakyat dan kemudian Pakatan Harapan dan Pakatan Pembangkang ketika itu. Sedikit pengalaman berada dalam kerajaan negeri. Selepas 2018, saya merasakan bahawa ada isu besar yang kita gagal untuk tangani apabila kita menjadi kerajaan. Ini adalah soal arrogance. Kenapa saya menyebut arrogance atau sombong ini? Sombong ini bukan bermakna sombong kita bongkak atau apa. Kita lihat sebelum 2018, arrogance Barisan Nasional ketika itu, mereka merasakan, oh tak apa, kita buat corruption ni apa semua, kita rompak duit rakyat, Najib ambil duit rakyat, apa semua ni, tak apa, rakyat tetap akan sokong kita. That was arrogance. Dan apa berlaku? Rakyat hukum, jatuhkan mereka. Pakatan Harapan menjadi kerajaan, majoritinya bukan, yalah kita ada sokongan daripada rakyat, tapi mandatnya adalah kerana mereka tidak mahu lagi the arrogance of Barisan Nasional to continue. Kita pun ambil kerajaan. Dalam tempoh 22 bulan itu, we develop to become arrogant. Arrogant maksud saya dalam bentuk kita tak mau address isu besar, iaitu tentang pertembungan 2-3 personality soal kepimpinan ini. Dan kita masih lagi fighting against each other. Rakyat di luar sana tak mau lihat itu. Rakyat di luar sana mau lihat PH masuk, deliver your promises dan juga perkara-perkara yang ingin lakukan. Jadi bila itu tidak berlaku, bila berlaku arrogance seperti itu, yang menyebabkan akhirnya di kalangan ahli parlimen, di kalangan kabinet, di kalangan kepimpinan-kepimpinan merasakan perlu ada perubahan politik. Jadi sebab itu saya percaya Itu juga yang menjadi masalah kepada PH ketika itu. But moving forward now kepada Perikatan Nasional, if we continue to become arrogant, dan Perikatan Nasional juga tidak akan mampu untuk bertahan. Arrogance maknanya you only talk about kepentingan kelompok, you hanya talk about kepentingan individu, you tidak mahu bercakap soal nation, soal negara. Sebab itu saya come out dengan artikel Latin Malaysia Kini produce about rekonsiliasi nasional. It is a big idea, tetapi itu juga yang diperlukan oleh rakyat sekarang. Masalah kita sebahagian besar di politik, kita hanya memikirkan soal circle kita sahaja. We don't really think about what is outside there, apa yang rakyat sedang lalui hari-hari. Rakyat tak mau tahu siapa jadi menteri, siapa jadi ni. Once you are there, you have to deliver to the people, and that what the majority of the people wants now. So itu pada saya yang berlaku sekarang, macam contoh di kalangan orang muda, ialah majority sekarang ni merasakan ada yang sangat upset dengan politik, ada yang sangat upset dengan apa yang berlaku ketika Sheraton move. Saya faham itu reaksi normal kerana mereka keluar beramai-ramai untuk mengundi pada 2018. Tetapi as they see the few months yang datang ini, yang ke depan ini, mereka harus menilai semula kedudukan dan juga keputusan-keputusan dibuat oleh kerajaan. Maknanya pemerintah membuat keputusan, adakah keputusan itu membantu rakyat? Saya percaya majoritinya membantu rakyat hari ini berbanding dengan negara-negara lain yang berhadapan dengan COVID.
The UK's abrupt decision to impose a 2-week coronavirus quarantine on travellers returning from Spain has provoked anger and confusion. British Foreign Minister Dominic Raab is standing by his government's abrupt decision to impose a 2-week coronavirus quarantine on travellers returning from Spain, which has provoked anger and confusion among tourists returning home from the popular holiday destination.
We're quite frustrated by it, to be honest, because it actually feels safer in Spain than what it did when we left the UK.
The measure has put the brakes on plans of many either on vacation or planning to take one there, and also hit hard at the Spanish tourism sector just as it emerges from months of lockdowns and travel restrictions. The move to take Spain off a safe travel list was announced late on Saturday and took effect just hours later, leaving travellers with no time to dodge it or plan ahead. Raab defended the decision as a real-time response to a jump in coronavirus cases reported in Spain on Friday, the latest in a month-long resurgence in infections. Spain had been put on a list of countries that the British government had said were safe for travellers to visit, meaning tourists returning home would not have to go to quarantine. In addition to the quarantine, the British Foreign Ministry advised against all but essential travel to mainland Spain. The opposition Labour Party's health policy chief, Jonathan Ashworth, slammed Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government for its frankly shambolic handling of the measure. Spain's rise in COVID-19 cases has prompted most regions to impose rules for masks to be worn everywhere, and in several areas, including Barcelona, calls for people to stay at home. Most new cases have been concentrated in the northeastern region of Catalonia and neighbouring regions. So a lot of the criticism focused on the fact that the quarantine also applies to areas which have been spared the brunt of the pandemic. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.